Hey, what is going on, guys, and welcome back to another daily gossip video. If you're new around here, make sure you do hit that subscribe button and also like the video if you do at the end. But we are kicking this off anyway, straight going into it with Kieran Tierney. He is a young left-back for Celtic. He's currently just broke through, I think, and Arsenal see him as a long-term option instead of Monreal. Gibbs is injured too much, so I think it is a position that they do need to solve, but obviously it depends on whether Wenger's going to be there or not, and obviously if someone else comes in, they may change their mind. I'm not too sure, but they see him as a long-term option. I haven't seen him play personally, but you never know. There's been a few young Scottish players that come through, such as Gold and stuff like that, who have done quite well. Next up is Idrissa Gueye, another player getting linked with a move to Arsenal. They want Gueye from Everton in the summer to beef up their midfield. It's no secret that Arsenal's midfield has been a little bit lackluster in terms of putting the foot in, being a strong midfield that you kind of expect from an Arsenal team that's had Vieira, Petit and stuff like that in the past. They haven't really had anyone who's been a kind of enforcer since pretty much since Vieira left. So they're looking at Gueye to kind of fill that position. Next up is Nathan Ake. Bournemouth are not giving up on their move to try and get Ake on a permanent deal. They're going back in the summer to try and get Ake done. Obviously, he had a really good season, or at least part of the season, at Bournemouth. And then Chelsea got him back in January. They obviously had a clause to do so. And now, Bournemouth really want him. They want to pay either 10 million plus to try and get him back to the coast. Next up is Ben Gibson. Chelsea are told it'll cost 30 million to sign the Middlesbrough centre-back, which is kind of crazy that, Chelsea want Gibson from Middlesbrough. Not the fact that Gibson's not a good player, but the fact that they've got the likes of Zuma, Ake, Cahill, God knows however many of the other people that they've sent out on loan. Obviously, David Luiz is also still there. It's kind of crazy. I think 30 million is a hell of a lot of money for a player who's essentially playing for Middlesbrough. I don't mean that in a bad way, but they are in the bottom three. Next up is a guy called Arslan. He is getting linked to the move to Sunderland. They want the Besiktas midfielder. Don't really know why, because if they go down, I don't think Arslan's going to go there. Arslan, I think, used to play for Celtic. Am I wrong in that? Or it might have been Hamburg. But either way, he is proven in Europe. Obviously, currently playing for Besiktas, who I think are near the top of the Turkish league. So it could be a good move to get him in. As I say, that depends if they stay up or not, though. Next up is Kimmich, young player coming through Bayern Munich. I think he's done really well whenever he has played. And Manchester City are ready to make a move for Kimmich, who wants first-team football. Obviously, Guardiola will know Kimmich from his time at Bayern Munich, and he wants to get him in to play in that centre defensive midfield position, most likely with Fernandinho, because I think Torre will be gone by that point. Next up is Helder Costa from Wolves. They signed him from Benfica for a lot of money, I believe. And he's been doing all right, but at the end of the day, it's Wolves. And Chelsea and Arsenal are ready to battle for the Wolves striker. He can either play striker or either wing. And both of those clubs going in for him. When Chelsea and Arsenal come calling on your championship side, I'm sorry, but they will end up selling. I'm guessing they will make a profit on however much they bought him for, but even still, they will end up selling him. Next up is Kingsley Coleman, looking like he may be going for another massive move. That would be crazy. He's obviously played for PSG, Juventus and Bayern Munich. And now Chelsea are readying a £60 million offer. That is mental. If he goes to Chelsea at the age of what? I think he's 20. If he's played for 4 of the biggest clubs in different leagues, that is going to be absolutely insane. I think it would really improve Chelsea. Next up is Arturo Vidal. Getting to move away from Bayern Munich, PSG and Chelsea ready to battle it out for the Bayern centre-mid. There's so many Chelsea and Arsenal rumours in this video, and I think that's just a sign of intent from those clubs that they either need to improve or they want to stay on top. In Chelsea's case, it would be to stay on top. Vidal would slot in next to Kante, I presume, because apparently Matic is kind of the one that might be getting forced out. I think Kante's been doing that well that you can't really not, take him out of the team. Belotti is next up, a very, very good player for Torino. Scored a hat-trick in 10 minutes the other day, and Barcelona have apparently opened secret talks with Belotti over a move to try and get that deal done in front of everyone else, basically, because there's other potential parties involved. Next up, Mandzukic. Getting linked to the move away from Juventus. They're set to let Mandzukic go, and West Ham are set to battle Besiktas to try and get Mandzukic to their club. You know, they do need a striker, and I think Mandzukic would be a very, very good one to go and get. Marquinhos is next up, constantly linked to the move away from PSG, and Manchester United and Chelsea are not deterred by the 6-1 thrashing he was part of, and they're ready to go in for him still. And I don't know, I think he's a good player, but tends to see a lot of mistakes on his part. That's just my opinion. Either way, they are still interested. Next up is the massive story that is Romelu Lukaku's not going to sign a new deal with Everton. That is absolutely gigantic news. He was in contract talks, I believe, with the club, and then has basically pulled out and said he's not going to sign a new deal. That's mental. He does have 2 years left on his contract, but that doesn't mean that Everton aren't going to sell him. I think it just means they could probably get a bit more money than what they would do if he had like a year or less left on his contract. I think a whole host of clubs are going to be interested in him. I've noted down Chelsea, Manchester United, Real Madrid and Juventus are all showing major interest early on, but I think there could be more clubs than that. Lucas Perez next up. He is another option for West Ham. They are inquiring about Perez's availability. Obviously, he's not playing that much. I think he's said 1 or 2 times that he's not happy, and West Ham are ready to offer him a chance to continue his career in the Premier League. Another Chelsea starlet that may be leaving, to add to Aki, that is, and that is Abraham. The Chelsea striker is wanted by Galatasaray. He's only 19. He's been playing for Bristol City. I think he's been banging them. I think he's on double figures for Bristol City. And that has shown a Galatasaray interest to come in and try and get him from Chelsea. Real Madrid's goalkeeping problems have been highlighted the weekend after their goalkeeper pretty much palmed it into his own net. Real links with the ex-Liverpool target Leno as the Keylor Navas replacement. I think it's probably a good move to try and get him in. He's still young. He's like, 24? So he's got a lot left to give, and it could be a long-term option for Real Madrid. Gulam is a player Manchester City are interested in. They are ready to secure Gulam in apparently an £11 million move. That seems quite cheap. I don't know whether it's a contract situation or what, but that's quite cheap. It will solve their left-back problems that they've obviously currently got. And Gulam is a solid player. Ousmane Dembele was once the teenager who was wanted to go for. He ended up picking Dortmund, but however, that hasn't deterred Barcelona. They want the young forward from Dortmund, and they're ready to pay big to try and get him. I don't know if he want to go at the end of the year. He had the choice of Barcelona beforehand and chose Dortmund instead. So there you go, guys. If you did enjoy it, make sure you do drop a like. Absolutely massive news about Lukaku, and also there's a fair few Arsenal and Chelsea rumours involved as well. Until next time, guys, I shall see you in the next one.